Blissful tidings and welcome to 2021. This is the great owl reasonings right here at the Tree of Life, and it's another cycle we recognize as human beings, and we've been doing this for a pretty long time, observing what we call um, a new year. What we in the West call a 12-month cycle. In certain parts, it's 13 months, and other parts of the world they got other means to measure the cycles, to be honest. So here in the West, we are just at the year, as we say, 2021. And our numbers in the West are always so symbolic because of the idea of prophecies that suggest that there's going to be an end to the Western civilization at a certain point, or an end to the world at a certain point. So because of this, as we tend to get closer in some numbers, I guess people tend to become a little bit more nervous and uncertain about the future of being. So there's always something that's making people afraid. And in the 2020, it was, this great, fear of a global collapse that people were looking at in terms of, what was happening in terms of the propaganda, the way in which we were brought to a pre-designed stage where our own thought and ideas and questions on the issue was not considered in its narrative and its marketing and its promotion. So they promoted a weird concept last year, got religious minds very scared, I think, and even some spiritual minds too. And as such, when that stuff was beginning to happen to me, like, there's like, is this prophecy? Is this history? Is this the end of something? Is this the beginning of something? Is this the Aquarian? Is this the age of whatever? These things were becoming like in the spectrum of thought in the environmental field, because some people are talking about the many suns you would see, the many moons, the many stars, and as a result, I guess, for real, I too was like saying, what does this all mean? Took me about a month or two to kind of calm down from all the hysteria that was happening around me. And then I realized patterns in human experiences when these things have happened before, why they have happened, and how it is that the spread of this kind of experience upon the human family, how it increased and how it eventually decreased, because all things that is not natural and is a projection, after a while in their artificial state, they lose energy because the energy has to come from a real thing, something living. So when our minds are no longer hysterical, when we are no longer scared, we are no longer afraid of these things, the effects of these things change in our reality, and then unbelievably they change altogether in the environment. These things caught a lot of people off guard, and as such people were putting in their philosophical mind, their spiritual mind, their metaphysical mind, and everybody was just thinking, okay, is this the end of days? Is this the beginning of a new age? What is this? And at, I would say, the 9th or the 10th month, something began to become clear in my mind. I said to myself, well, to be honest, my parents' generation lived through the world wars, right? And to some degree my grandparents' generation too, right? From the World War One coming down, and the different conflicts in between up until even the Vietnam conflict, right? And in my generation, all we had was like these so-called cultural revolutions, musical revolution, identity revolution, and we really never had anything that shook the global stage, like threatened the global pie. And so far, I think 30, 40 years, I think those global strategists were thinking of something that would recapture the commonality of people's experiences to a place where they can manipulate, hallelujah, a lot more. We are in an age where humans are highly developed in their belief systems, and as such, they want guinea pigs to outpicture. And the biggest guinea pig isn't caught up in a lab. The biggest guinea pig is walking around free every day, every single day, just waiting to be exploited. Hey, and that's the reality that's happening to every single human being who do not have that awareness to trust and to think deeper into the internal clarities, right? Because once you don't trust in those things, you won't understand any of this. Because if you are all into pundits, they're going to tell you this is happening, that is happening. Be afraid because now is the end of this. Be very awakened because now is the beginning of a great this and a great that. And then tomorrow, like yesterday, turns out to be the same. And all that changes is when we decide to examine the information more clearly, see what is actually fact, what is actuality, what is belief systems, and do not make our decisions in how we deal with these things based upon belief systems. Let it be based upon fact. And you do not have to convince others of what you come to understand about these experiences. You just have to be real within that truth you found within yourself. That trust that you found, to trust that this is an eternal space, and that eternal is actively manifesting through your experiences as your experiences. So if your experiences becomes designed by someone else, patterned by someone else, patterned after someone else, you understand me, then it is going to be in their ambits. The major part of the shaping, the fashioning of your experiences, of your belief, of your attitudes, of your outlook will come from others. This great big collective so-called unconscious is going to be leading us unconsciously into a place that we will regret, hey, as individuals. So I implore you, in 2021, don't just be caught up in the great narrative because you've seen it 21 times out of a possible 21 times. That's programming. And if you again go to the old facetry of information, a video, a documentary, a movie was always called programming, right? And for those who are grown up on television, you know it's called a television programming, right? So it is clearly saying, look into the philosophical ambits of the word programming, and you'll see there's specific thought processes being engendered into people. Meaning, you didn't naturally come up with those and you're thinking, oh, we think this way. And then someone would ask, how do you explain that millions of people or thousands of people are thinking this way? You all watch the same programs. You all believed in the same things. You all have similar wavelengths and patterns of behavior, led by these thoughts, led by those who are dominant in these thoughts, that are inspiring you, influencing you. So it is clear why so many people thinks this way. You watch the same programs, you believe in the same things, yeah? You are going to the same places, you dress the same way, you eat the same way, you're on the same networks. So it's kind of clear why y'all think that way. And whoever is setting the programming is deciding what information will inspire, will help to direct, will help to create any kind of activity within that space they dominate. So be careful who is directing the thought processes that you're actualizing. Seek information, learn from the experience of others, yeah? But decide for yourself how you understand that information, what you do with it, and also how you live from the information you are discovering as a human being. Learn to love and trust the self, because all else might just be a distraction or a disorientation.